Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, watching the stars through the main viewing screen. His hands gripped the captain's chair as he felt the familiar hum of the quantum fold drive beneath his feet. 3 years of Space Academy training had never prepared him for this moment. He was the first human captain to take a ship beyond the solar system, and the weight of that responsibility pressed on his shoulders like a heavy blanket. "Captain, we're getting some strange readings on long-range sensors," said Amy Foster from her science station. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, and her blue eyes were focused on the glowing displays in front of her. She had been Earth's top quantum physicist before joining the space program, but even she looked confused by what she was seeing. Jake walked over to her station and looked at the sensor data. Bright dots moved across the screen in formation, too organized to be asteroids or space debris. "What do you think they are, Amy?" "Unknown vessels, sir. 5 of them. Approaching our position at high speed. Their energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases." Amy's fingers danced across her controls, trying to get more information about the approaching ships. Lisa Martinez looked up from her engineering console. Her dark hair framed a face marked by grease stains from working on the ship's systems. "Captain, should I prepare the quantum fold drive for emergency jump? We can be back to Earth in 6 hours if needed." Before Jake could answer, Ryan Brooks spoke up from the tactical station. His military training showed in his straight posture and serious expression. "Sir, the unknown vessels are changing course. They're moving to intercept us. I'm reading weapons charging on all 5 ships." Jake felt his heart rate increase. First, contact with alien life was supposed to be a peaceful moment in human history. Scientists and diplomats had written hundreds of procedures for this situation, but none of them had prepared for meeting hostile aliens. "Open all communication channels. Ryan, let's try to talk to them." "All frequencies open, sir," Ryan reported, broadcasting standard first contact messages in mathematics and basic scientific principles. The alien ships continued their approach. They were sleek and silver, about twice the size of the Liberty. Strange symbols glowed along their hulls, and energy weapons extended from their sides like the spines of some deep-sea creature. The lead ship was larger than the others, with more weapons and what looked like communication arrays. "Still no response to our messages, Captain," Ryan said. His voice stayed calm, but his hands moved quickly over his controls. "They're not slowing down. Impact in 3 minutes if they maintain current speed." Jake made a decision that would change everything. "All hands, battle stations. Lisa, give me full power to shields and weapons. Ryan, target their engines only. We defend ourselves, but we don't shoot to kill unless we have no choice." Alarms sounded throughout the Liberty as the crew prepared for combat. In the engineering section, Lisa's team worked frantically to boost power to the ship's defensive systems. The quantum fold drive hummed louder as more energy flowed through its crystalline matrix. The alien fleet spread out as they approached, surrounding the human ship in a tactical formation. The lead vessel, commanded by Fleet Commander Vex Thera of the Zephyrian hegemony, opened fire first. Blue energy beams lanced through space, striking the Liberty's shields with tremendous force. Jake gripped his chair as the ship shook from the impact. "Damage report." "Shields holding at 80%, Lisa called out. "But Captain, something strange is happening. The quantum fold drive is reacting to their weapons. It's like the alien energy is feeding into our systems." On the alien flagship, Fleet Commander Vex Thera watched in surprise as the human vessel absorbed their weapons fire without significant damage. His forearms moved quickly over his control station as he ordered his fleet to increase power. "Impossible," he hissed through his breathing apparatus. "Our weapons should have disabled that primitive ship already." The second wave of alien fire struck the Liberty with twice the power of the first. The ship's lights flickered, and several crew members were thrown from their stations. But instead of failing, something unexpected happened. The quantum fold drive began to resonate with the alien energy signatures, creating a feedback loop that no human scientist had ever imagined possible. "Captain, the drive is doing something I've never seen before," Lisa shouted over the noise of straining systems. "It's not just absorbing their energy anymore, it's changing it, amplifying it somehow." Amy looked at her sensors in amazement. "The quantum field around our ship is expanding. It's creating some kind of space-time distortion. The alien weapons fired a third time, pouring massive amounts of energy into the growing quantum field around the Liberty. Fleet Commander Vexithara expected to see the human ship break apart under the assault. Instead, he watched in horror as his own weapons fire began to bend and twist around the enemy vessel. "What is happening?" demanded his second-in-command. "Our energy beams are changing direction." The quantum fold drive reached a critical resonance point. All the alien weapon energy that had been absorbed and amplified suddenly erupted outward in a brilliant flash of white light. The energy wave expanded in all directions, but it was no longer random destruction. The human technology had somehow organized it, turning it into a precise and devastating force. Two of the alien ships simply vanished, consumed by the energy wave. A third ship lost all power and began drifting helplessly through space. The fourth vessel's hull cracked open like an egg, spilling atmosphere and debris into the void. Only the flagship survived, its stronger shields managing to deflect most of the redirected energy. Fleet Commander Vexithara stared at his tactical display in shock. In less than 5 minutes, a single primitive ship had destroyed most of his fleet using his own weapons against him. It was impossible. Nothing in the Galactic database had prepared him for technology that could turn energy attacks into amplified destruction. "Retreat," he ordered his surviving crew. "Send immediate word to High Command. We have encountered a species with impossible technology. They must be warned." On the Liberty's bridge, Jake and his crew sat in stunned silence as they watched the alien ships flee. The quantum fold drive had returned to normal operation, humming quietly as if nothing unusual had happened. "What just happened?" Jake asked quietly. Amy stared at her readings, trying to make sense of what she had witnessed. "I think our quantum drive somehow used their weapon energy to create a resonance cascade. But Captain, the physics involved should be impossible. We just violated about 6 different laws of space-time manipulation." Lisa shook her head as she reviewed the engineering data. "The drive performed operations that our best scientists said were theoretically impossible. It's like the laws of physics work differently for us than they do for everyone else." Ryan continued scanning for more alien ships. "Whatever we did, sir, we scared them pretty badly. They're broadcasting some kind of emergency signal as they retreat." Jake stood up and walked to the viewing screen, looking out at the debris field that had once been an alien fleet. He had wanted humanity's first contact with alien life to be peaceful, but instead they had accidentally demonstrated power that seemed beyond the understanding of galactic civilization. He didn't know it yet, but news of this encounter was already spreading through the communication networks of the Galactic Empire, causing panic among species who had never seen technology that could turn their own weapons against them with such devastating effect. The emergency message from Fleet Commander Vexithara traveled through the galaxy's communication network like wildfire. On the Imperial core world of Nexus Prime, High Inquisitor Zelmondo read the battle report 3 times before he could believe what he was seeing. A single ship from an unknown species had destroyed 4 advanced warships using their own weapons against them. Zelmondo's 6 eyes focused on the tactical data, while his tentacles moved across his control console. The physics described in the report should have been impossible. No known technology could redirect energy weapons with such precision and power. His breathing slits fluttered with anxiety as he considered what this meant for the Galactic Empire. "Summon Admiral Crickstall," he ordered his aide. "Tell him to prepare the research vessel Eternal Wisdom for immediate departure. We need to study these humans before they become a threat to Imperial stability." 3 days later, Admiral Crickstall stood on the bridge of his massive research ship. His species, the Vorthak, were known throughout the galaxy for their scientific minds and logical thinking. Crickstall had solved dozens of technological mysteries for the Empire, but this human problem puzzled him more than anything he had encountered before. "Navigation, set course for the Sol system," he commanded. His voice carried the authority of someone who had spent centuries studying the universe's secrets. "Science teams, prepare all scanning equipment. We need to understand how these primitives developed such dangerous technology." While the Imperial research fleet traveled toward Earth, Dr. Alex Carter sat in his laboratory at the Global Space Initiative in Colorado. The 42-year-old physicist had been working nonstop since receiving Captain Morrison's report about the alien encounter. Empty coffee cups covered his desk, and his brown hair stuck up in all directions from running his hands through it. "This doesn't make sense," Alex muttered to himself as he studied the quantum field readings from the Liberty. According to every physics textbook ever written, the ship's drive should have overloaded and exploded when hit by that much energy. Instead, it had somehow converted the alien weapons into a devastating counterattack. Dr. Maya Patel walked into the lab carrying 2 fresh cups of coffee. Her Indian accent was barely noticeable after 20 years of living in America, but her brilliant mind was known throughout the scientific community. "Still trying to figure out what happened out there?" Alex accepted the coffee gratefully. "Maya, look at these readings. The quantum fold drive created a resonance pattern that shouldn't exist. It's like our technology operates under different physical laws than the rest of the universe." Maya sat down and pulled up the data on her tablet. Her dark eyes moved quickly across the numbers and graphs. What if that's exactly what's happening? What if human technology works differently because we developed it in a different environment? Before Alex could respond, Kevin Shaw burst through the lab door. The young systems analyst looked excited and worried at the same time. His red hair was messy, and his freckled face was flushed from running. "Dr. Carter, you need to see this right now. We've got a problem." Kevin led them to the main computer room where dozens of monitors showed data from research stations around the world. "Look at what happened in the Tokyo lab 2 hours ago," he said, pointing to a video feed. The screen showed a group of Japanese high school students working on a science project. They were using a small quantum resonator, the kind found in every advanced physics classroom. As they adjusted the device's settings, something unexpected happened. The resonator began to float in the air, surrounded by a shimmering field of energy. "They were just trying to demonstrate basic quantum principles," Kevin explained. But their equipment started showing gravitational anomalies. The local gravity field around their experiment increased by 300% for almost 10 minutes. Alex felt his blood turn cold. "That's impossible. Those classroom resonators don't have enough power to affect gravity." Maya was already pulling up more reports on her computer. "Alex, this isn't the only incident. Look at this data from the Australian mining operation. Their quantum drills created a temporal distortion that lasted for 6 hours. And here, the European Space Agency's new engine test somehow opened a micro-wormhole during a routine systems check." The 3 scientists stared at the growing list of impossible events. All around the world, human technology was performing feats that violated the known laws of physics. Equipment designed for simple tasks was accidentally achieving breakthrough, discoveries that should have required decades of research. "It's like we're not even trying to break the rules," Alex said quietly. "We're just naturally doing things that should be impossible." 8 light-years away, Admiral Krikstal's research fleet finally reached the edge of the Sol system. The Eternal Wisdom's advanced sensors immediately began scanning human space, looking for signs of the technology that had destroyed the Zephyrian fleet. What they found exceeded their worst fears. "Admiral," called Science Officer Quethara from her station, "I'm detecting quantum field distortions throughout this entire system. Every human facility is generating energy patterns that our theories say cannot exist." Krikstal studied the sensor data with growing alarm. The humans had quantum technology on hundreds of worlds and space stations. Each installation showed the same impossible physics that had destroyed Fleet Commander Vexithara's ships. "Focus our scans on their main world. I need to understand the source of their power." The research ship's most advanced sensors turned toward Earth. What they recorded would soon send shockwaves through the galactic empire. Human children in school laboratories were casually performing experiments that the galaxy's greatest scientists considered theoretically impossible. Factory workers used quantum tools that could reshape matter at the atomic level. Even human toys showed energy signatures that violated fundamental universal constants. "This is beyond anything we anticipated," whispered Science Director Velnock. "They're not just using advanced technology, they're using impossible technology. Every piece of equipment they build operates outside the laws of physics as we understand them." Admiral Crixatal felt a cold fear growing in his mind. The Empire had faced many threats over the millennia, but always from species that followed the same basic rules of science and technology. The humans seemed to exist in a reality where those rules simply didn't apply. Back on Earth, Dr. Carter's team was beginning to understand the scope of their situation. Reports flooded in from research stations, factories, schools, and military bases. Everywhere humans used quantum technology, impossible things were happening. Equipment was exceeding its design specifications by orders of magnitude. Simple devices were performing functions that required massive installations on other worlds. "We need to contact Captain Morrison immediately," Alex said. "If his ship can accidentally destroy alien fleets, and our children can accidentally manipulate gravity, then we're not just dealing with advanced technology. We're dealing with something that could change the balance of power in the entire galaxy." Maya nodded grimly. "The question is, what do we do with this knowledge? Do we tell the world that human technology apparently violates the laws of physics?" Kevin looked up from his computer where he was tracking more incidents around the globe. "I don't think we have a choice. The incidents are increasing. Whatever makes our technology impossible is getting stronger. Soon everyone will know that humans can do things that should be impossible." In space above Earth, Admiral Crixtal made his decision. The humans were more dangerous than any threat the Empire had ever faced, not because they were hostile, but because they didn't seem to understand how dangerous they were. He opened a priority communication channel to Imperial Command. "High Inquisitor Zelmondo," he reported. "The human situation is far worse than we imagined. They possess technology that operates outside universal law. Every human installation shows impossible physics. We are not dealing with an advanced species. We are dealing with beings who exist outside the normal rules of reality." Admiral Crixtal's report reached the Galactic Council chambers on Nexus Prime within hours. The massive dome-shaped building filled with representatives from hundreds of species, all talking at once in dozens of different languages. The universal translator systems worked overtime as panic spread through the assembled delegates. High Inquisitor Zelmondo stood at the center podium, his tentacles wrapped tightly around the speaking staff. "Silence," he commanded, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We face a crisis unlike any in our recorded history. The humans are not just another species with advanced technology. They appear to operate outside the fundamental laws that govern our universe." Elder Crystalline Vorthak, representing the ancient Crystalline Collective, spoke first. Her crystal body rang like bells as she moved. "Impossible. The universal constants have remained unchanged for billions of years. No species can simply ignore physics. Yet the evidence is clear," Zelmondo replied. He activated the holographic display showing footage from Earth. The assembled delegates watched in horror as human children in a classroom made objects float in the air using equipment that should barely have enough power to light a small bulb. Queen Hive Mind. Zarathus of the United Colonies felt thousands of her linked minds recoil in fear. "This threatens the stability of our entire civilization. If humans can casually violate physical law, what prevents them from reshaping entire star systems?" Grand Admiral Torkfin of the Military Council slammed his armored fist on his desk. "We should strike first, before they realize their full potential. Destroy their worlds while they still think their technology is normal? And risk having our own weapons turned against us like the Zephyrians," countered Science Minister Welfar. "Every simulation shows the same result. Direct attack on humans results in our destruction." Meanwhile, on Mars, engineer Tony Rodriguez was having the worst day of his career. The 35-year-old mining specialist had been drilling for rare metals when his equipment started behaving strangely. The quantum drill bit was supposed to cut through rock using controlled energy fields, but something had gone wrong. "Base control, this is Rodriguez at Mining Site 7. He spoke into his radio. "I've got a problem here. The drill is creating some kind of space-time distortion. Time is moving slower inside a 50-meter radius around my position." Back at the Mars base, Chief Operations Officer Linda Walsh stared at her instruments in disbelief. The readings showed that time inside Tony's work area was running at half normal speed. Plants and insects caught in the field moved like they were underwater. "Tony, shut down the drill immediately. We're sending a rescue team." "I can't shut it down," Tony replied, his voice strangely slow over the radio. "The controls aren't responding. It's like the machine is running on autopilot." In Earth's orbital shipyards, pilot Lauren Hayes was testing humanity's newest fighter design when she encountered something that would give alien observers nightmares for decades. The 28-year-old test pilot had logged over 1,000 hours in experimental aircraft, but nothing had prepared her for this. "Control tower, I'm approaching the test zone," she reported. Her fighter was equipped with the latest quantum-assisted engines, designed to make sharp turns by briefly warping local space. Beginning evasive maneuvers now. What happened next would be recorded by every sensor in the system. Lauren engaged the engines for a high-speed turn, but instead of simply changing direction, her fighter seemed to phase out of normal space entirely. For 3 seconds, her ship existed in multiple locations at once, creating a ghostly trail of energy across the test range. "Control tower, did you see that?" Lauren asked, her voice filled with excitement and confusion. "I just flew through that asteroid field, but the rocks passed right through me like I wasn't there." Flight controller Mike Stevens watched the replay footage with growing amazement. "Lauren, according to our sensors, you existed in 17 different positions simultaneously for those 3 seconds. That should be physically impossible." News of these incidents spread through the Imperial Intelligence Network faster than a plague. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council convened emergency sessions every day as more reports arrived. The humans were expanding their territory rapidly, approaching critical trade routes and military installations. Each new human outpost showed the same impossible physics that had destroyed the Zephyrian fleet. Ambassador Veltorin of the Peaceful Alliance tried to offer a diplomatic solution. "Perhaps we should attempt formal contact. Maybe the humans don't realize how dangerous their technology appears to others." "And reveal our fear?" scoffed Admiral Torquevin. "The moment they understand their advantages, they could demand tribute from every world in the galaxy." The debate was interrupted by an urgent message from the Outer Rim territories. Captain Zevmara of the Galactic Patrol reported another incident involving human technology. "Council members," his holographic image flickered into the chamber. "A human cargo ship just passed through our checkpoint. Our sensors detected it approaching, but when we tried to scan it, the ship simply vanished and reappeared on the other side of our energy barrier." The humans seemed as surprised as we were. Grand theorist Quimaran, the galaxy's leading expert on advanced physics, finally spoke. His ancient voice carried the weight of 1,000 years of scientific study. "I have analyzed all available data on human technology. My conclusion is disturbing. These beings operate technology that functions under physical laws we do not understand. They may be descendants of the legendary precursor race, or beings from another dimension entirely." The chamber fell silent. The precursor race was a myth, a story told to explain ancient ruins and impossible artifacts found on dead worlds. If humans were connected to those legendary beings, it would explain their impossible technology. "What do you recommend?" asked High Inquisitor Zelmondo. "Immediate quarantine," Quimaran replied. "Seal off all human space. Prevent their expansion until we can understand the nature of their abilities. Most importantly, ensure they never learn the full extent of their technological advantages." Emperor Sothval, supreme ruler of the Galactic Empire, had remained silent throughout the debate. His ancient eyes had seen the rise and fall of dozens of civilizations, but nothing like this. When he finally spoke, his words carried absolute authority. "The quarantine is approved. Deploy the Eternal Fleet to establish a barrier around human space. No ships enter or leave their territory without Imperial approval. Begin immediate research into countermeasures for their impossible technology." As the council session ended, none of the delegates noticed the small monitoring device that had been recording their discussions. The device belonged to the Human Intelligence Network, which had been secretly observing alien communications for months. Deep in a classified facility on Earth, analysts were already translating the alien conversation. Dr. Alex Carter received the intelligence report just as he was reviewing the latest incident reports from around the solar system. The gravity manipulation in Tokyo had spread to 12 other cities. The temporal distortion on Mars was now affecting an area 10 kilometers wide. Quantum experiments in universities were accidentally opening micro-wormholes that led to unknown locations. "They're planning to quarantine us," Alex told his team during an emergency meeting. "The aliens think we're too dangerous to let loose in the galaxy." Maya looked up from her analysis of the latest physics violations. "Maybe they're right. We're breaking laws of reality that we don't even understand. What happens when someone accidentally creates a black hole or tears a hole in space-time?" Kevin pointed to his computer screen showing global incident reports. "It's happening faster now. Whatever makes our technology impossible is getting stronger. We're approaching some kind of critical threshold." Outside Earth's atmosphere, the first ships of the Eternal Fleet were already taking position. The galaxy's most powerful military force was being deployed not to invade humanity, but to contain them. The aliens feared what humans might become if they ever fully understood their own abilities. Dr. Nathan Cross had never been so nervous in his life. The 50-year-old diplomat and scientist stood in the docking bay of the neutral research station Harmony, waiting for first official contact between humanity and the Galactic Empire. His hands were sweaty inside his environmental suit, and his heart beat faster than it had since his college days. "Remember, Nathan," came Dr. Carter's voice through his communication device. "They're more afraid of us than we are of them. Every simulation shows they think we're some kind of ancient super beings." Nathan almost laughed despite his nervousness. If only the aliens knew that humans were just as confused about their technology as everyone else. "Copy that, Alex. I'll try not to accidentally destroy the station with my incredible cosmic powers." The airlock opened with a soft hiss, and Nathan got his first look at Imperial Science Director Velthari. The alien was tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Her large eyes showed intelligence and barely controlled fear. "Greetings, human Nathan Cross," Velthari said in perfect English, her voice translated by advanced universal communication devices. "I am Science Director Velthari of the Imperial Research Council. We have much to discuss." Nathan extended his hand for a handshake, then remembered that aliens might not understand the gesture. "It's an honor to meet you, Director. I hope we can work together to solve this mystery." They walked together toward the station's main laboratory, a neutral space designed for scientific cooperation between different species. The walls were lined with equipment from dozens of different civilizations, but Nathan noticed that all the alien technology was carefully shielded and isolated. "Your species causes us great concern," Velthari said as they entered the lab. "Our observations show that you violate fundamental physical laws with casual ease. How is this possible?" Nathan sat down at the conference table and pulled out his tablet showing data from Earth's research stations. "That's what we're trying to figure out. We're just as surprised as you are when our equipment does impossible things." Velthari's color shifted to a deep blue, which Nathan hoped meant curiosity rather than anger. "You claim to not understand your own technology. We understand how to build it and use it," Nathan explained, "but we don't understand why it works, differently for us than it apparently works for everyone else in the galaxy." To demonstrate his point, Nathan pulled out a small device that looked like a metallic cube. "This is a standard quantum field manipulator. Every human engineer carries one for basic repairs. According to our physics, it should only work within a 1-meter range." He activated the device, and immediately every piece of alien equipment in the laboratory began to hum with renewed energy. Broken instruments that had been offline for years suddenly came back to life. Power levels throughout the station increased by 30%. Velthari jumped back from the table, her skin flashing bright red with alarm. "Impossible. That device just repaired equipment that our best engineers said was permanently damaged." Nathan looked at his quantum manipulator in surprise. On Earth, the device was used for simple tasks like adjusting molecular bonds in metal or cleaning dust from electronic circuits. He had no idea it could fix alien technology that was supposedly beyond repair. "I honestly don't know how it did that," Nathan said. "This is what I mean about not understanding our own technology." Meanwhile, Captain Sarah Mitchell watched the meeting from the bridge of her escort vessel Endeavour. The 43-year-old naval officer had been chosen to protect Dr. Cross during the diplomatic mission, but she was beginning to realize that humans might not need protection from aliens as much as aliens needed protection from humans. "Captain," called her communications officer, "we're receiving reports from the Imperial fleet surrounding the station. Their ships are experiencing massive power increases just from being near our vessel." Sarah looked at her engineering displays and saw that the Endeavour's quantum engines were running at barely 10% power. Even in standby mode, her ship was apparently affecting alien technology across several kilometers of space. "Lieutenant Danny Kim," she called to her chief engineer, "what's your assessment of the situation?" Danny looked up from his control panel, his young face showing confusion and excitement. "Captain, it's like our ship exists in a bubble of different physics. Everything around us is being upgraded to work at our level of efficiency." Back in the laboratory, Dr. Cross and Director Velthari were making a breakthrough discovery. Nathan had brought several pieces of standard human equipment to demonstrate how they worked. Each device he activated caused more alien technology to repair itself or operate beyond its design limits. "Your quantum fields are different from ours," Velthari observed, her scientific training overcoming her fear. "They operate at frequencies we thought were impossible to achieve." Nathan pulled up star charts on his tablet. "Director, where did your species first develop quantum technology?" Velthari projected a holographic map of the galaxy. "Here in the Nexus sector, like most civilizations, the physics are stable there and quantum fields behave predictably." Nathan overlaid human star charts on the alien map. "Look at this. Humanity developed in the Sol system, here in what you call the anomaly zone. Our scientists always wondered why space seemed different around our home system. The revelation hit both scientists at the same time. Humans had evolved in a region of space where the fundamental constants of physics were slightly different due to ancient cosmic events. What seemed impossible to the rest of the galaxy was simply normal physics for humanity. That's why our technology works differently," Nathan said with growing excitement. "We're not violating universal laws. We're following a different set of universal laws." Velthari's skin shifted to bright yellow, indicating amazement. "This explains everything. Your species isn't magically powerful. You simply developed in an environment with different physical constants." The implications of this discovery spread quickly through both human and alien leadership. Emperor Sothval received the report in his throne room on Nexus Prime, surrounded by his advisors and military commanders. "So the humans are not descendants of the precursor race?" asked High Inquisitor Zelmondo. "No, Your Majesty," replied Grand Theorist Quimaran via hologram. "They are simply beings who evolved under different physical laws. Their technology appears impossible to us because we developed under different conditions." The Emperor considered this information carefully. "And their abilities?" "They can solve technological problems that have limited our civilization for millennia," Quimaran explained. "Their quantum fields can repair and enhance our equipment simply by being present. They are not conquerors, Your Majesty. They are natural engineers." On the research station, Nathan and Velthari were already planning the future. "Director, what if we combined our technologies, your stable physics with our adaptive fields?" "The possibilities are unlimited," Velthari replied, her excitement visible in her rapidly shifting colors. "Problems that have stopped galactic expansion for centuries could be solved in years." Captain Mitchell received new orders from Earth. "Command." "Sarah," came Admiral Morrison's voice over the communication channel, "you're no longer on a diplomatic protection mission. You're now commanding the first joint human-alien research fleet." As the weeks passed, the fear that had gripped the galaxy began to transform into excitement. Human engineers working alongside, alien scientists achieved breakthroughs that neither species could have accomplished alone. Danny Kim solved a power generation problem that had limited space travel for thousands of years, simply by adjusting the quantum field resonance on an alien engine. The research station Harmony became the center of a new age of cooperation. Species that had been enemies for centuries worked together on projects that benefited everyone. The Galactic Empire didn't fall to human conquest. Instead, it evolved into something better, with humanity serving as the catalyst for unprecedented scientific advancement. In his final report to Earth, Dr. Cross wrote, "We didn't come to the galaxy as conquerors or gods. We came as problem solvers. And apparently the galaxy has been waiting for us to help fix things they thought were impossible to repair."